Alright, what's going on, you guys? It's your boy 3 Stacks in this thing, baby, representing Team Kings of Games. And this is going to be the last time for a while that I'm going to be able to showcase you guys Unchained. So, you guys, hopefully you enjoy this last take. This Unchained core that I have, along with quite a few other cards, are not mine. They're being lent to me, and I'm going to be returning them next week. So this is basically the final take on Unchained that I can do until I'm able to get my hands on the card, which I won't be able to do anytime soon. So it's going to be a while before you guys see anything about Unchained on this channel, unless it's like online, which can be a little bit difficult with like the glitching and the skip frames and stuff, which we're going to find a solution for. But let's go ahead and get into this profile, you guys, because this deck definitely is savage. You guys saw me pick apart 6 negate boards with relative ease. I thought it would be a little bit harder, but this deck is just crazy savage, you guys. Like, it's an aggressive going second deck and doesn't really need hand traps. The way my mindset is, unless we're in an FTK format, my deck of choice competitively, for the most part, if you guys know us on my channel, anytime you see me top of the deck or taking a deck seriously, it doesn't have hand traps, because for me, I'd rather break the board than prevent it from happening in the first place. That's just me. Unless my opponent is FTKing me, I feel like I have a strong chance. And if I get paired up against a deck that's going to hand loot me or do True King of all calamities, then I just have a side deck that to prepare. But for me, I don't like hand traps. I like combo pieces, and I like cards that are 1 for 5. So I like Dark Roller, I like Evenly, I like Spear Molds, I like cards like Twin Twisters, things of that nature where I can clear multiple cards. Hey True Nate, multiple cards with 1 card, very impactful. So this deck is crazy gas, you guys. It can do so much. And for me, the preference is going second because it just functions that way. Going first, you can easily set up boards off of a multitude of 2-card combos. The combos in this deck are efficient, very easy to remember. You can patent it, and it doesn't require that many cards. It's just 2 cards every time. So let's go ahead and get it to you guys. Starting off with the monsters, we're playing 3 copies of Aruha. This card's the best twin in the deck. Well, yeah, in the terms of starting things up, honestly, I gotta give it to Rakia in the terms of, I guess you could say, situational applicability, because this card not only enables basically OTKs, because he's a quick effect, so you can activate him in battle phase. This card inherently allows you to trigger Unchained Abomination on command on your opponent's turn when you're trying to disrupt their plays. It kind of just does, like, anything that you could think of for your hands. He normally, if you just add a Rakia in the midst of it, that hand just becomes insane. Even though his effect is very simple, destroy a card that you control, because it's a quick effect, it is absolutely insane. Sarama's great, and she really does help you to recover, get your tempo back. 1 card can bring you back into the game. But Rakia, in the terms of pushing, in the terms of setting up your boards, optimizing your plays, triggering Abomination on your opponent's turn, popping your own cards, chaining Abomination, this card's insane, you guys. And the OTK pushes you get with it are ridiculous, because popping any twin to summon out this bad boy right here, 3k Abominable Unchained Soul, like, dang near seals the deal. They can't Nibiru you in battle phase. It's just crazy. And then 3 copies of Sarama. So I don't have the Saramas, but once I return the deck, I'm not even gonna have Unchained anyways, so it's actually totally fine. But 3 copies of Sarama. I'm maxing out on all 9 of the twins. Continuing with the Unchained cards, I'm playing not 1, not 2, but actually 3 copies of Abominable Unchained Soul. In testing, when I tested this deck against 6 negates, because you guys see my videos, if you follow this channel, which I don't know why those videos don't really get that many views, but it's crazy how insightful and impactful they are. It answers questions you guys will ask. Oh, is this competitive? How does this do against Omni negate boards? Then I literally make a video showing you how it contends with 6 negates, and people don't even watch it. But this deck is so insane. Like, I tested it against a 6 negate board. Anytime I was opening this card allows you to chain block. How 3 stacks? Because basically, when you're popping any of your Unchained back rows, you can call Chainlink 1 on the back row and Chainlink 2 on this, or Chainlink 1 on this, Chainlink 2 on the back row, to dodge cards like Ash, dodge cards like even Appaloosa. You just make this Chainlink 1 and the back row Chainlink 2. You summon this 3k body out, and you could easily bait another negation just by popping a card without targeting, or just swing over Appaloosa. The fact that it's just a 3k body that just comes out of nowhere is really ridiculous, and it pops cards. You can loop it off of the chamber. Like, it's just insane, you guys. This card is ridiculous. Like, playing it against the Pendulums, the 6 negate Pendulum board, just, you could smack dang near anything on that board except for Vortex. This card is ridiculously insane, you guys. Super duper strong, very powerful card. Hard drawing it is nuts. It lets you chain block, like I said. So going second, now your opponent can't even negate the card they wanted to negate because this card's there. It's just ridiculous. On summon, clearing cards, 3K. There's just nothing bad about it. If this card's dead in your hand, that means you couldn't pop any Unchained cards. You know what else that means? That means your hand's dead in the first place. A dead hand in Unchained is when you can't pop any cards. The whole purpose of his deck, counterintuitive as it may sound, is to destroy its own cards and capitalize off of those effects triggering if they're destroyed. Whether it's the twins, whether it's the traps, whether it's the spells, whether it's Abomination's prison itself or the links. Everything gets something if it dies by destruction. Then 2 copies of Unchained Soul of Disaster. This card is terrible to see in your opening hand at all. You play 2 not only because of desires, but also because if you ever draw one, you'll still at least have 1 in deck. Once you get 1 out, you can bring it back off the trap to reborn it, and that's totally fine. But you need to be able to resolve an effect to summon it from deck at least once. So 2 is like the perfect ratio. And then I play some kaijus, not the best kaijus, just the ones that I have right now. 2 copies of Jizukiru. If I had smaller kaijus, I'd probably play smaller kaijus in Radiant because it's a fiend, but don't have those either. Continuing on with the monsters, 2 copies of Archfiend Eccentric. This card's actually really sick in this deck. How you go off in this deck is to pop an Unchained back row and summon a twin from your deck. That's how I play this deck. So what I like about his Eccentric is it outs floodgates, it can bait negates by itself, and when you're going first, it makes your deck more consistent as well, because you could just pop any trap and then summon a twin from deck, and that could just get you combo right there. So this card just fixes your hand. It's like a missing, like if you think of it, it makes your incomplete hand complete. So Archfiend Eccentric is a really crazy tech. You guys should already know this if you've been watching Unchained content on this channel. And then 1 copy of Pankratops, you guys. Going second deck. Going first, you're just gonna set up your best optimal setup going first, which is realistic since these are all at 3, is to have Wailing set up along with Abominable and Escape and your Unchained Soul of Rage, because you have a pop with the trap, you have a pop with the spell, and you get to eat one of your opponent's monsters to link. Then you can reborn this to summon out Abominable Unchained Soul to get another pop. So you get to pop 3 cards on the field. You get to link with one of your opponent's monsters. You clear 4 resources from them. That's the best opening going first. That's still 4 interruptions. Against back row, they set 4 pass. You can pop 3 of the 4, which is crazy. But continuing with the spells, 3 Call by the Graves, just to make sure your plays go through. Pretty much everything in this deck is ashable, so Ash is one of the easiest hand traps to use against this deck. You can chain block, but still, sometimes you can't. Ash isn't just impactful against this deck, so Call by is important. 3 copies of Abominable, basically Abomination's Prison. If this card had Unchained in its name, Sarama would just be crazy. But this card's still nice. We're definitely playing 3 copies of Desires, Go Hard or Go Home. I maxed out on 3 of each of the back rows because to get combo, it's more effective to pop a back row than it is to pop a twin, because setting the back rows off Sarama gives you that extra value for you to use them for follow-ups, or even to flip the Wailing the same turn you've set it and use its other effect to capitalize on both. And then continuing on, speaking of, I played 3 Wailings. I know most lists play 1. I totally disagree. You absolutely, in playtesting in this deck, I did multiple test hands over and over and over. Kind of went on an Unchained binge, played it in ranked online. It was smacking people's cheeks without even side decking. I was like, dude, if you can't open an Unchained back row, like, it's just unrealistic that you're going to get combo, because at that point, you literally have to have a Ruha plus a twin to get combo. You have to open a back row, and this is one of the best ones because its effect is crazy. Once it's activated, you can activate this as the first card. If your opponent doesn't negate it, you can just start getting multiple destructions off this. If they have an effect that negates the activation, they can't even stop this because this is an effect happening. It's just very impactful, you guys. Definitely want to play 3. 3 copies of Dark Ruler No More, and then the 1 copy of Mind Control. Again, this is a going second deck, and the idea behind this deck is actually that you're able to use your opponent's resources against them. So if your opponent left a Link 2 on their field for you to use, you could then use that to summon your own Link 4. Same with the Mind Control. You know, it's really nice what this deck can do, honestly. And the Unchained Soul of Disaster, because, you know, it just targets a monster and links with it. For traps, we play 3 Evenlies in the main deck. Dark Ruler Evenly breaks like every board these days. Like, it's just crazy. Just seeing that combo, Desires helps you to draw into it. Because you Dark Ruler Evenly, at that point, you're just going to set up Unchained Soul of Rage, get your disruptions, and prevent your opponent from re-establishing. And this deck kills out of nowhere too. It's not like it's a slow deck where you're like, oh, I can live for a turn. you might not even live for a turn. Like, if you evenly, obviously, you know, Dark Ruler evenly, that's a different story, but the point is that this deck can really OTK very quickly. So just be careful when you play against this deck. And then I played, like I said, I maxed out on the back row, so 3 Escape, 3 Abominable. This is probably my favorite one, because you want to use this to loop Sarama, you want to activate it, summon Sarama, and then on your next turn, use Sarama to set this, pop another twin, special from deck, and then again, use it. Just, it keeps you in the grind game. It's like Dante's Seer to an extent, where you, as long as it doesn't get like DD crowed, you can just keep using it to resummon the same Sarama. It just keeps you in the game. This trap is just really, if this deck could grind, it's because of this and the fact that the links can add cards from grave to the hand if they get destroyed. And that's the main deck. It should be 44 cards, not 40, 44. For the extra deck, we played 3 Unchained Soul of Rage. This card's your main disruptor. This card sets up, believe it or not, this deck can actually combo off, and this card can set you up. Basically, so as you're comboing off and you're doing the thing that you're doing, if you can't kill your opponent, one of your priorities is to end your board with this or Abomination. Sometimes you actually get to end with Abomination and this. When you have the continuous spell, on your opponent's turn, you just use this to link with one of their monsters into this bad boy. Trigger the continuous spell, pop, effective Abomination, pop, in phase, pop. You just get to clear so many cards with this deck, it's crazy. The one Abomination, once it's gone, you just bring it back off the trap to reborn it, or you add it off these. These are there for names to actually link climb into, so you can get more value out of the continuous spell. And Dark Ruler sucks against this deck, just letting you guys know. If they kaiju you, you just use this to bring the link back. So there are certain side deck cards that are actually good against other decks that aren't that great against this deck. So there's your Unchained links. Then we play the IP, Phoenix, Cerberus, Unicorn that I don't have, and Griffin. When you're locked in the Fiends, you can still go into all the Nightmares, which they're very helpful for the situations they call for. Griffin slept on. And all the Topologics. Topologics are crazy. Topologics just... it's ridiculous. Because basically, you don't get locked into Fiends until you use either a Ruha's effect or Rakia's effect. Saruma doesn't lock you to twins into Fiends, neither does popping any of the back rows. So when you have hands where you can just pop the back rows, like for example off Archfiend Eccentric, you can basically set up plays with IP Masquerena, things of that nature, or even with this. Like there's plays where you can just reborn this off the trap, you know, you can link this off. So basically you can eat one of your opponent's monsters to link, then you can use IP to basically link. It's just really, really cool how you can link on your opponent's turn. And you can easily use IP to link on your opponent's turn into cards like Trishbana, Bomber, or Zeraboros, then trigger them on your opponent's turn off of the chamber to summon to their zones, which is crazy. So yeah, you can actually take control of the game even if you couldn't OTK your opponent and you just Dark Ruler no more them. You just Topologic Bomber or Zeraboros their board, which you can do before you get locked into Fiends if your hand's good enough. Because also keep in mind, when you special summon this bad boy, that he does not actually lock you into Fiends. So just keep that in mind. Just be wary of that. And also, if I'm not mistaken, there's one other thing I need to let you guys know. So Unchained Soul Disaster, basically you could target one face-up monster your opponent controls immediately after this effect resolves. Link summon one Dark Link monster using only this card and that card, and that opponent's monster as material. Nowhere in this card text does it say you can only summon Fiends for the rest of the turn. So this is where, again, you use your opponent's resources against them. If they have a Link 2, you take this and that Link 2 and go into a Link 3. If they have a Link 3, you take this and that Link 3 and you go straight up into one of these. So if you just Archfiend Eccentric for a back row, summon this bad boy out, take their Link 3, you make this, you can just nuke their board, which is crazy. So you don't even have to be locked in the Fiends to do stuff like that. That's why the Topologics are good in this deck. And the final card in the extra deck is just the Ding. You play level 8s, it could come up, and it's a form of removal that the deck really does struggle to get to, which is non-targeting and non-destruction. Zeraboros can do that, but who says you're always going to be able to make Zeraboros, and who says it's always going to resolve? Having a backup to make sure that you can still clear threats like Endymion and things of that nature, just really helpful. So Ding is nice. And that's pretty much the deck profile, you guys. Next coming is Necros. I'm going to say a quick prayer. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, Jesus. Thy kingdom come. Jesus, I thank you, and thy will be done on earth just as it is in heaven. Please give us this day our daily bread, Lord, and please forgive us of our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, Father, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the glory, and the power forever. In the mighty name of Jesus, I pray. Thank you, Heavenly Father. Amen. All right, yo, deuces is wild, you guys.